Rotarians, register now for the most exciting Rotary District Conference you imagine. We're busy crafting an amazing Cayman Rotary experience like none other. The flavors, the feel, the fellowship, the music, the color, the memories about to be created. Start your district conference experience now. Complete your registration online today. D7020conference.ky. We waiting, we ready. A message from District Governor David Cocaldi. Rotary, creating hope in the world.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk Today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome. It's a fantastic Friday. It's going to be better because together we're going to make something positive and productive as we invite you to be a part of our open line. Let's take the text, 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 40 seconds to share and to shine. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. It's open line, and without a prize of a material possession, but the prize to know that you are making a very profound contribution, be the first caller. 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call 925-3261. It's about dialogue and discourse. It's about also listening to understand, not so much to respond. When we do respond from a considered perspective, a willingness to share your view, to not only inform, but also to encourage others to likewise stand in the gap. A few things I would like to share, but let's take this first call. Hey, welcome. Congratulations. Thank you. You're the first caller.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. How are you?
I am excellent. How about you?
Good. Good to have you back. How are you? How are you doing?
I am truly in a space, in a place where I see much promise and potential. I'm gracious and grateful.
I was saying to myself, we are living in a good place. I'm telling you, when you're listening news overseas and see much things happening, I'm like, God, we are so blessed in Cayman. We ought to give God thanks every day. Every day. When you hear about people don't have any food and we can wake up and pick up breadfruit, and come on now. We are to give thanks every day.
With listening to what you're sharing, let me ask of all of us, right? We seem to be, as you said, a little bit ungrateful, unwilling to acknowledge all that we have. Is that your view? And if so, why is it that way?
I know some people are just, I don't know. Some people are just set in their own mind, but you just have to pray for them also,
True. Now, before I ask you the second question, is there anything on your mind, on your heart, that you want to share?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What I see happened a couple of days ago, and it was just like anything can happen at any time. So we should be always on the alert and prepare ourselves. You know?
Exactly. You mean in relation to the recent weather, the little nor'wester?
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Mother nature. Yeah.
I guess that's a perfect segue into my second question. In that, there are many of us, either because we've been in the Cayman Islands for a long, long time, or we've lived on the coastline, whether in the Caribbean or other parts of the world, we're more familiar. But there are probably many people here that the nearest body of water would be a pothole after a long rain, so they might not be as familiar with with Mother Nature. And then the fear mongering of many pundits, and I say this carefully because I think many people in position are either malicious, they're insensitive, they're so arrogant and egregious in their comments that they fail to appreciate the impact that they have on people's minds, right, and well-being. They say things without any consideration, right? So it gets people in a state who don't know, and then they become paralyzed with that fear. So in the Cayman context, I'm hearing increasingly from sort of, make it easier for me to understand it, from two categories of people. People who have been here forever, people who have lived other places, and they say, no, yes, be respectful of Mother Nature, be mindful of the impact of the waves and the wind and the like, but it doesn't make them that paralyzed with fear. Then there's another group who either have only been here recent or themselves are not, familiar, have not been around water and so on, and they become this thing. And when you see that growing divide, it makes me question, are we becoming more easily divided based on education and economics, ethnicity, religion, race, gender? It seems that we're just fighting each other.
That's true.
So how do we not do that? I mean, that's not asked because I'm naive. It's not striving for idealism, which I don't think is a bad thing.
Yeah.
How do we get that unity? Because it builds strength, but it also builds a sense of safety and security. So help me to answer that question so we can implement it. How do we build unity in this small little place with only a handful of people?
I think people need more, socialize more on a good ground board, and to be gossiping and backbiting and stuff like that. People need to come together and talk about good things and progressive things where we can move forward. You know what I mean?
I guess the Rod Stewart lyrics, people get rid of, there's a train coming.
Yeah.
Right. But then, and not speaking to the Cayman context, or certainly not even the Cayman context only, but if it applies to us, we should take it on board. To the global context, we see our politicians, whether they're independent nations, where they get up sometimes and they say things to perhaps engender themselves with the populace, whether they're doing it consciously to, create fear, and through fear they have control, but they're dividing us by their sentiments, right? Yeah. Words in recent times like garrison politics and behavior used to be a lot more, understood and recognized. Now it seems to be par for the course, right? The politician would point fingers and, highlight the differences because it makes it easier for them to, seem as if they're now, more connected and concerned. But then the consequence is, once that genie is out of the bottle, can we put it back in? All right, so let me ask then, and you answer if you wish. From your personal perspective, are you willing to look in the mirror and say, hey, here's my good and my bad, my pros and my cons. Yeah. What am I saying and not saying? What am I doing and not doing in my personal life, my public life, that adds value and unity or creates division? And that's not a question for you only. It's a question that I'm asking us to ask ourselves. Is that a question that you're willing to ask yourself in your private, prayerful, pensive moments?
Yeah.
You think that's You think it's an unfair question? Do you think that's a question that would offend people? If I say, hey,
some people.
Michael Jackson talks about the man in the mirror, right?
Man in the mirror, right?
Are we willing to look at? And I don't think he meant the male man. I think he meant the human man. The human being.
Human man, right?
Yeah. Because we're not doing that, and with that, all right. Let me listen to you. You talk to me. Let me listen. What else you want to tell me?
I just maybe if we know, if we come together, I think the surroundings will be much better. Looking out for each other, have each other back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm ready to tear down people. Just, work together. It will be much better.
Yeah, man. All right. Listen, thank you for that. I think you set the stage for a potential, a very engaging and riveting conversation, all right?
Yeah.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Take care. Thanks. Perfect way to pause. If you're listening, you want to call, you can call and say, man, I don't know what was in your coffee this morning, but maybe you should have more with or less with. If you want to call and share and agree, that's fine. It's often said, I think increasingly by the academics in my life have shared, I say they often, but I think you, like many, have repeated it and unfortunately ascribed it to someone that, according to those who know whether that's true or not, because you can't believe what you read in the search engines many times, even if it's from official sources, as they share, trust but verify. Often I've said it, and I thought it was the case until I was recently, said, no, that's not true. We often say, evil prevails when good men do nothing, even though it's not the exact verbatim quote, and we ascribe it to Edmund Burke. And now we're told, well, that's not really true. It wasn't him. Robert Hilliard might have been the one, but it wasn't this guy. Well, not even him. Is that the case? But nonetheless, it's a fairly good saying unless you look at it in its true construction and think simplistic. It doesn't make sense. All right, I'm told we're going to pause, and then we'll take some calls. If you're in the queue, stay online.
Say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip to LA. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Sale ends February 14th. Now is the time to see LA your way.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The 2024 Cayman Arts Festival is here, celebrating their 20th anniversary, February 19th at the Hawkwheel Theatre, taking a special remembering 2004 piano recital featuring 2 exceptionally talented artists, Glenn Inanga and Asia Korapanova from the United States. Tickets are available at www.caymanartsfestival.com. For more information, call 922-5550 or email inquiries@caymanartsfestival.com. The 2024 Cayman Arts Festival, proudly sponsored by Butterfield, Walkers, RBC Dominion Securities and RBC Bank, Ministry of Border Control, Labor and Culture, Radio Cayman, CNCF, Friends of the Library, Trio Architecture, Century 21, Rawlinson and Hunter, Cayman Islands Public Library Service, and Andrew Galloway.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
This Valentine's, Digicel has something special. Join our shared postpaid plan for unlimited data and minutes for both of you. Plus, get 25% off for 6 months. Activate a 5-day Prime bundle for 2 SIMs at $14.99. Enjoy free calling between both and 25% off for 6 months. Make this Valentine's memorable with Digicel Cayman. Visit us today for unlimited connections. Digicel, connecting hearts this Valentine's.
It's time to update your information. If you've recently changed your postal address, phone number, or email address, please let your Water Authority customer service team know. Remember, non-receipt of a bill does not constitute a release from liability for payment. Visit our website, www.waterauthority.ky, to download and fill out our customer information update form, or contact our customer service team at info@waterauthority.ky or braccs@waterauthority.ky, or call 949-2837.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. It is open line. We go straight to the phones. Hey, thanks for calling.
Good day, Lord Sterling.
I appreciate, your calls, man, but, I'm just flesh, man. Even though I believe in the spirit, man, I'm just flesh. But thank you, man. How are you?
But, not too bad, But now, come on now, Mr. Lord Sterling. Now we got Lord Sharp,
Yeah,
I got Lord Sharp and we got Lord Graham, so I don't see why we can't have Lord Sterling.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I know we all have. It's interesting you say that, right? I know we all have, our own sort of personal, how do I put it, ambitions, perhaps. We all have this idea of what would validate us and the like. I don't like things that are archaic, whether it's institution or otherwise. I don't like pomp and circumstance. I like honesty and integrity. I like humility and respect. I like when people are genuine and sincere. I like when people have a sense of pride and dignity in people who offer themselves in service, not because they can lord it over others, but because through humility, they're making an invaluable contribution, right? And as we joke and jest about certain things, there are certain words, phrases, and practices that shouldn't have started to begin with, but centuries later we still, done it. If I might, Sir Alden, as we now know him, a man who has reinvented himself and shown, through character and a resolve. People joke about, he doesn't want to mess up his hair, but with such a wonderful head of hair, who would? But he's not going to put on that old thing, his hair, right? And it's time that, as a child grows and becomes independent, it still respects his parent, still understands the importance of how that parent's nourishing, advice, guidance, and counsel and assistance has been instrumental in that child's life. Even if the child says, well, I won't do that because the parent did it, it's still an example, or I would follow in that parent's footsteps because it was instructive. We need to find our own and be willing to accept responsibility and be held accountable because we're pressing forward in a positive way. But are we missing that, my friend? Are we missing that? Talk to me. You and everybody else, it's a Friday, man. We can have much to what do you say?
The thing is, we people, some might try to keep you down. I see that, if somebody try to say, for example, recommend that Mr. Sterling should be a night nurse, for example. Someone would say, well, oh no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Why is that? And the majority says, Mr. Sterling, he's a great man. It's not many people that can joust and win against Mr. Sterling. A man of words and a man of power, because actually knowledge is power, and you got a lot of knowledge. You're a brilliant man.
I appreciate
some might misunderstand and put things in a way like speaking of spirituality, but That's not actually what I'm saying.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
You know, like the lords, those great men and the House of Lords and the UK and all those powerful men. You know, I know that you can sit and you can, like I said, you can stand among some of the strongest men. I know that. That's what I know.
Wow. Listen, man, that's very humbling. Thank you for sharing that. But I believe that's the same of all of us, right? And if we stand together, right? Iron sharpens iron. But if you recognize that, you know, like my daughter was placed rope, and you know, we sing in church, you know, bind us with cords that can't be, you know, unbroken. We recognize that a three-legged stool is better than one. We know all these things, but we're not employing them in our daily lives. We're not recognizing that if we lock hearts and hands, how there's strength and safety and security in being united. And we can talk publicly as much as we want, but if we're not serious in what we do, if it's just empty words, meaningless prose have, you know, nothing of purpose. Hey, listen, what they say, dog eat your supper.
Right. United we stand.
Yep.
And I tell you what, I believe in and Mr. Sterling and quite a few other Caymanians get more strength.
Yeah.
We in a population of 10 million people, you know, so we gotta have strong and powerful men and women in Cayman, and that's my opinion. That's my point. That's my opinion.
Yeah, man. And
instead of being weak, strengthen each other, and as some would say, rise together for good purposes and reasons.
Exactly. A house divided can't stand, right?
That's right.
I mean, you take one sheet of paper. I'm sure we all have done this or been a part of the experiment, and it could be in school, or it could be, you know, one of those things where as team building and you get another sheet of paper, you get another sheet of paper. The first sheet, you can easily tear it. You may be strong enough to take a phone book, you know, a large book, and rip all the pages. But the more those pages and sheets of paper are layered, the stronger it is, right? We see that laminating process in construction with, you know, wood and the like. We even have the laminated joists that we use for, you know, structural integrity as we span, you know, larger distances. But by the same token, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So no, you.
No, man. You inspire, man. You encourage, and you know, you have much. We just need to listen. So let me just pause, and then you share, and I'll respond.
I say like on the compass now, the east, west, the north, and the south, southeast, whatever, and all those.
Yeah, man.
Powerful, strong Caymanians in each and every corner of Cayman, and stand strong. It's not that we gonna be against anybody, but we standing strong and keeping these islands together.
Yeah.
In a united way, and win. It's a lot of things that we need to fight for in these islands. I mean, for example, you got people, they want to catch their fish and all that kind of stuff. We got to loosen up on that kind of thing, I believe. I was thinking about it this morning, and I think that they should allow, the kind of loosen up on the laws with the fishing and stuff like that, and allow people to catch their little fish and have their little meals and stuff like that, and enjoy life, and stuff. I think so. I think we should loosen up the laws and allow more fishing and stuff for Caymanians in this country.
There might be some merit to what you share. Others would say yes, but do we do it so that there's a proper, not just education and awareness, but an actual practice where we, as an example, I love to go fishing, or as I would say, there's listener can laugh at me if they want, or they can laugh at me. I used to say fishing. I would say fishing, right?
Right.
We go fishing, right? And you knew how to spell it, but you understood. And I say that because I don't think we're conscious of how much we're losing as people, not just in Cayman, but globally, We may say it's globalization, we may say it's the influence of others, and we may say that we've been instructed in a way that tells us that our traditional ways are errant. But we'd go fishing, and our father would say, okay, there are certain fish we don't take. There are fish that we take, but we don't take them at this time, or we don't take them unless they're this size. There were no marine conservation laws there. There were the conservation of good sense to know that if you, save for tomorrow by your practices of today, you make provision, and whether that translates into today's language of delayed gratification or the like, these are people who had good sense about what they were doing because they understood that they were good stewards. They had a responsibility, not just for the future, but for the then and now, the now and then. I wonder though, whether it's greed, whether there's something else where we don't understand. Now, I may have an opinion as to what we can and can't do, but if I share that with you, you can add to it. You can join me and say, yep, that's a good idea. You might say, nope, that's not a good idea. Here's a better one, right? But we're not having that. We're not willing to listen to other people's views. And worse, if their views are not exactly as ours, well, man, there's a confrontation.
Right.
Yeah, man.
But I believe we need to stand up and be stronger in this country. That's what we need to do. In the east, the west, the north, and the south.
There you
strong
go,
and powerful Caymanians.
There you go, man. All right, we're going to take the break in a second, but before we do, what else you want to share with us?
Well, I would like to see in a strong position, stronger position actually, because I know you can do it. You have a lot of strength. Like I said, knowledge is power, and it's not only money that's power. Knowledge, the know-how, and I know you're humble. You'll be. Well, I don't want to talk about that, but
fair enough, man.
I know, but
Thank you, man. Thank you for the kind words,
sir.
the prayerful consideration. And you stay in the faith, man. You stay the course, and you recognize that let no man define you. Let the hand of the Almighty guide you, my friend. All right.
Yes, sir.
Blessings. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. The good friend with the power controls. Are we going to the break or the calls? He said you should know. To the callers in the queue, stay on. We will get back to you.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip to LA. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Sale ends February 14th. Now is the time to see LA your way.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
The 2024 Cayman Arts Festival is here, celebrating their 20th anniversary, February 21st at the Harquail Theatre. Enjoy the string orchestra performance conducted by Grammy Award winner John McLaughlin Williams, bringing together a harmonious blend of both overseas and local performers. Tickets are available at www.caymanartsfestival.com. For more information, call 922-5550 or email inquiries@caymanartsfestival.com. The 2024 Cayman Arts Festival, proudly sponsored by Butterfield, Walkers, RBC Dominion Securities and RBC Bank, Ministry of Border Control, Labor and Culture, Radio Cayman, CNCF, Friends of the Library, Trio Architecture, Century 21, Rawlinson and Hunter, Cayman Islands Public Library Service, and Andrew Galloway.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for sharing with us. It is open line and we do have a caller. Let's go to the phones. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. Peter here.
Hey, Cap. How are you? How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, and I hope the same for you.
I am indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, you started off the show with one of those questions.
Too soon for the week? I mean, I don't know.
No. It's pertinent at any time.
Okay, thank you.
What would we have to do to have unity?
Mm-hmm.
More unity among the Caymanians, among Caymanians. Period.
Uh-huh.
I think history has shown us what causes people to unite is hardship. The opposite happens when the good times roll. People become more independent. Nobody has to go and borrow a cup of sugar from the neighbor. And so there is no interdependence. I think it has been noted globally that with the advent of the mobile phone, people have become much more separated. Rather than, they may communicate in a way with other people, but it's on a different level.
Right.
And one of the most interesting ways to demonstrate that fact is, I remember earlier in my career, if you had an unexpected delay, let's say somebody called the airport when they should have been checked in for half an hour ago. They called the airport. They're on their way. I'm on my way. I need to make this flight to Miami. Just hold it for me for a minute. I'm a good friend of so-and-so in upper management. You can call him or her or it. And these people would be accommodated. Now, you had maybe 100 people on board the airplane already, ready to depart on time. And you had nearly a revolution on board for waiting for somebody, even if it was, as you aptly said, a lord, something or other. People were upset that they had to wait, that the departure got delayed. Nowadays, somebody announces on board, we're number 14 for takeoff, and unfortunately that'll bring us late to our destination by 20 minutes or something like that. There is not a sound to be heard in the cabin. Everybody is down on their mobile phones, doing their own thing. Maybe younger people play games, older people do social, surfing the net or whatever. So there is no community there. There is a bunch of individuals sitting in a metal tube. And I think life in general has become that way. We are now Many of us are more educated with what's going on in foreign countries from whence the news is originating rather than what's going on in our own land.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sign of the times, and it's a sign of wealth.
Mm-hmm.
I think hardship, you hear about great music, music that is created with passion, so forth. It almost always comes from people that are experiencing hard times, musicians that express their hardship through music. And so I think there's an answer for what makes people come together, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hardship.
Yeah. I if you think is okay, can I interject and add something that I had seen some time back, and I made a reference to it, and I just pulled it up. Tell me what you think of this, right? I like George Carlin. I've struggled sometimes to listen to him because he used a lot of profanity, but he used it in a way that was perfunctory, right? He used it in a way that you could almost excuse it because he interjected it to make a point, to underscore his comments, right?
It's his exclamation mark.
His exclamation mark. And he referenced, and it was showed that he was a man of great intellect, not just as a journalist, but a philosopher almost, right?
Yes.
And there was one time he said something, and I went and I collated some of it. He talked about, pulling from different people who perhaps knew as much or more, right? He talked about, multiplying our possessions, but, reducing our values. We know how to make a living, but not a life. We can add years to life, but not necessarily life to our years. And when we talk about the paradox of time and history, you got, bigger this, but shorter that, our tempers and the like. And the one thing that always stuck, we may know more about things, but we got, less of a judgment and discernment. We can see the proliferation of medicines and prescriptions, but our wellness is in question. And in saying that, I'm wondering, as you're sharing in the Cayman context, to what extent are we looking at the juxtaposition of having, newer roads but more traffic congestion, right? We have increasing government budget and expenditure, but seemingly, less services or quality of services. And it's not just a demand from the populace. It's almost. Well, what do you think? I mean, I'm looking at it from that perspective. Do we see the contradictions almost?
Oh well, definitely there are great contradictions.
Mm-hmm.
The normalization, I want to say, I'm searching for a word, of being now. It's okay now to be dependent on government. I think in the history of Cayman, people were frowned upon that were openly saying, well, I'm not going to do any work. I get money. I want my money from government. Where's my money?
Mm-hmm.
And that is so common today. If you happen to have the misfortune of having to be in NAU and listen to what's going on there, and seeing people getting out of cars and walking perfectly normal to the back of the car, opening the trunk and taking out a pair of crutches to come into the NAU office to get my money, I'm disabled.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they got what they came for, the crutches are put up until the fall of the next month. And things like that are now commonplace. We hear about people having to sleep in cars now, I think, and because of their income or whatever. But some of that may be out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that is by choice. Some of that is that somebody is unwilling to spend the money on rent for themselves, especially if the person is not from here and is only here for a short time to kind of make their lot better in their country of origin by sending their earnings back there.
Mm-hmm.
So some people are willing to endure that. The climate is favorable to that. They're not going to freeze to death in a car if the engine is not running, and things like that. So you have some where it is out of need, and it's hard to understand why we wouldn't be able to find accommodations for them. There are many buildings that are standing empty, be converted with very little effort. But again, that part now is unacceptable to those that would be the recipients of that kind of assistance. Because they say, I'm not going to go into a place where I have to sleep in a bunk bed and I have to go out in the morning and I have to share a bathroom with other people. But they're rather, in a hidden way, sleep in a much worse condition in a car. And I've seen a couple of them. You can almost always tell when you can't see inside the car for plastic bags and all kinds of household articles. Just enough space to recline the driver's seat for the person to kind of be in a prone position to rest. So it is the changes of the times in the Cayman Islands is what has brought that about. Some of those sentiments brought about, and I don't see anywhere in the near future unless we find a way to reach those parts of those members of our community in a way that actually can make a difference to their way of life. Dependence on others, and I have been experiencing that quite a bit since I've been retired. I've been accused of being rich and cheap, and yet every dollar that I have in our possession, my family's possession, I have worked for. I was acutely aware at an early time in my life here that there was no social security in place in Cayman. There was no national pension at that time, and that I would be responsible to provide for the evening of my life. Now that I am doing it, that I have achieved that status, and I am doing that, I'm being chastised for it, and that to me is typically a sign of the changes that have happened in our society.
This is why you in particular, and with great deference to everybody else, I enjoy listening to when you share your thoughts, because it's not just from a very heartfelt presentation. If you will forgive me to say my perspective of you publicly, it's logical, rational, it's analytical, but yet there is this compassion.
Well, you're trying to. I've always tried to share what I believe to be applicable to my life, to somebody else's life, and if it is not applicable to a specific other person, then it can serve as an example, and they can amend it to suit themselves if the information is of any kind of value for them. And some people have done so, and I have, strangely, when I was in a position of seniority, I have had younger men, I would have to say, come to me and say, what can I do? I cannot save. The money, when I get paid, the money is burning a hole in my pocket. I have to spend it. And they had finer cars than I did. They had nice boats. They had all kinds of luxury articles. Every one of them was losing value as they were sitting in their yard in front of a house that they had struggled to pay off. And they came to me complaining that they couldn't save. And there comes individual responsibility to look after yourself. I believe that when I came to Cayman, 1969, it's a good long time ago, those people were the majority in this island.
Mm-hmm.
People that knew they had to rely on what they could do for themselves and their families were the majority. The men I knew, they were looking to go to work. I remember one young man from Columbia, they used to call him. He was a bartender, along with myself. And I admired him because he, as a young single man, had built a house. And I was given to understand that, I compare things to Switzerland, of course, because that's where I'm from and this is where I came to and this is my home. So in Switzerland, the transition from boyhood to a man happens when the boy has to go to compulsory military service.
Mm-hmm.
In Cayman, at that time, it was the transition from boyhood to manhood was when he could build a house.
Yeah, that was the passage.
Yes.
Can't be respectful. I mean,
I know.
Yeah.
Time is up.
You want to continue later, or you want to call it a day for now?
Well, let me call you back another time.
Listen, thank you, and this is where sometimes conversation should continue. But thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's do the news when we come back. Camp Peter's comments are salient, so stay tuned for Talk Today.
We are Radio Cayman,
covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman.
1 in a million. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. This morning, a man who was seen on the waterfront in Georgetown behaving erratically ran from police into school grounds when approached but was soon detained. The incident is under investigation. In international news, the Duke of Sussex will receive a substantial payout for the remaining claims in his phone hacking case against Mirror Group newspapers, his barrister told the High Court. MGN will pay all of Prince Harry's legal costs, beginning with an interim payment of £400,000. In December, the Duke was awarded £140,600 in damages after winning 15 claims against MGN. The new settlement relates to unlawful intrusion claims on 115 more stories. Ex-world champion James Magnussen says he will take banned drugs in an attempt to swim faster than a world record. The 32-year-old Australian will come out of retirement to compete in the enhanced games where doping is allowed. Magnussen will try to swim faster than the 50-meter freestyle record, though it would not be official because there would be no drug testing regime. The men's 50 meters freestyle world record of 20.91 seconds was set by Brazilian Cesar Cielo in 2009, though he was wearing a performance-enhancing non-textile swimsuit that was banned a few months later. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born in Watering Place, Cayman Brac, on the 8th day of July 1936, Captain Fred Elman Scott was the fifth child born to Nalio and Vera Scott. Captain Scott was a quiet-natured child who liked going on the bluff with his grandfather Oscar Brown, swimming every Saturday evening and playing cricket down where Miss Alame's house sits now. He was very studious at Creek Elementary School and did very well under the tutelage of his favorite teacher, Miss Isley Connolly, MBE. Following the tragic death of his father at sea, At age 14, he left school to work with Arnold Foster to support his family. In 1953, he joined his first ship, the Beretta, a local cargo vessel, signing on as deck boy, working his way up to bosun. From 1953 until 2006, some 52 years, Captain Scott made his living working off the seas.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
It's Open Line on Talk Today. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or 925-3261. Call now.
Hey, welcome back, and certainly want to invite you to call and share your thoughts. It is Open Line for the remainder of the program, 949-8037. That's 949-8037, 949-6990, and WhatsApp 925-3261 to get Peter's last comments. And a gracious gentleman who always shares some considered perspective. Picked up on what he said, perhaps three things you remember, and I'm sure it's the same in many other countries, but we saw it for those of us who perhaps either subscribe to the American media or have friends and family or maybe closer connections to the US. We saw people, because of I call it the house arrest, and I do it deliberately because of the lawyers and others who know more say that's what it was akin to. And during that time, whether it was justified or not, whether we look at it and say it was a big mistake, irrespective, that was the consequence. We're subjected to serious controls and restrictions on our personal liberties. But we saw people in the US with brand new trucks and cars having to wait in line, drive up to get food and provisions. Not unlike perhaps we've seen here, but I'll pick up on the two other things that I want to share. But first, let's take this call. Welcome. Thanks for calling. Hello?
Hello.
How are you today?
Not too bad, you?
Excellent, man. Thank you for calling as well. I hope your day is going to be excellent.
So far, not too bad at all. Thankful.
It's a good day.
So you're going to be doing a couple show. You're going to go and do a show and tell on your own without giving us any info. And why?
I think that's a day, we've had at Radio Cayman from time to time broadcasted live from there, and it's a day that if we look at it, in its true form, to showcase not just the interest of agriculture from the hobbyist to the backyard farmer to the one who wants to make it because of entrepreneurial endeavors, a commercial venture, but also shows what can be produced here. And in the same breath, right, it shows us how quick we are to dismiss. We allow what's being done here to be dismissed, disrespected, and disregarded, and discredited. And I say that deliberately because when we look at our people and their achievements or their attempts at things, we're so disparaging, almost to the point where we're resentful and envious. And I'm not saying that to offend anybody, but if we are offended by what we hear and it's the truth, check our spirits, right? A young child creates something, a drawing, writes an essay, or passes an exam, perhaps shows a proficiency in music, poetry, or otherwise. Do we celebrate that child? And if we do, is it because of who the child is for, where the child is from? If we don't, is it because of who the child is for or where the child is from? Why can't we celebrate the accomplishments or the arts, athletics, or academics because it's been achieved? And it's something I refuse to accept I'm so grateful. I be careful. If you allow me to say this, I be careful how I say this because I don't want it to be misconstrued by some. There's a particular, individual that I interact with that has shared repeatedly one of the admirable traits, if I have any, maybe this is one. I tried consciously and deliberately to see the good in people. And I thought, well, everybody does that. And apparently, no, that's not true. Not everybody does that. But man, to see somebody achieve something, even if you just read it in the paper and you hear about somebody did something, you don't need another person. You can feel good because that thing that was a good thing was achieved. Yeah. I mean, am I somehow looking at it improperly? Because isn't it good to be able to see what people have done and say, wow, job well done? And if you know the person, to even feel a greater sense of, may I dare say, pride? Anyway, talk to me.
Yeah, that's nothing to show. You know, I was also reading something in regards that I think the matter was made at some point in time. I remember a little bit of the milk being, passing around to neighbors when I was very young. But the batter, I didn't even know that they had made batter here came on, which was good.
Can I just, sorry, I'm going to check my good friend across the table. I can't hear you well. Are you able over there to hear her well? No, so we're not hearing you that well.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's echoing, crackling, and the like.
Can you hear me now?
That's one little bit better.
Can you hear me now?
Not, my friend, how's there? No, I can't hear, and he's confirming likewise.
I can hear you very well. I don't know what's happening. Continue talking, or we hang up.
Okay, that's better now. Yeah.
Is better? Oh, I just found my location.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, apologies.
I was talking about the batter that the field made his batter here some days ago. I thought I was great to hear this morning that
yeah.
Okay. Island.
Yeah. Sorry, I apologize. Nope, that's gone again. We're not hearing you. And I'm judging by what he's saying. That means that if we're not hearing you, outside is still.
Can you hear me
No,
now?
not well. If you want us to try ringing you, or if you want to try back.
We're gonna hang up. We're gonna hang up.
Okay, I think she says we're gonna hang up. Hopefully that's it. All right, take the other call. Let's see, this one's better. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, man. How are you?
I'm very thankful. I just calling in because I didn't get the opportunity to call in this morning, but when the moderator spoke to the fact that one of the ex-premier had gone into farming, a caller called and said he hoped he was given this the stuff to the people who was in need. Everybody in his brother think that when you see a 300-pound, a quarter bull, or whatever size it may be, they'll say, boy, that he got about 4 or 5 of them cows. He make a lot of money. Let me tell you something. For those that are there that is completely ignorant to this, as my good friend Art McLean said, you see my glory, but you don't know my story. Farming is by no stretch. I can tell you cattle farming is by no stretch a money-making venture. By no stretch. Because with the prices that we are able to sell our beef for on the local market, it is minute compared to the imported beef.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that really gets to me and is that you will see a man can go and buy $5 of gasoline, throw in his little aluminum boat and take off and go out there and catch 50 pounds of fish. Now that's worth $8 a pound. And when you look into that cumulatively, there's what did he put in there, but look at the returns he's getting, right? But we as farmers raising these cattle, it is depending on how many cattle you have, you're feeding me for one. I feed my animals 4 sacks of feed per day. Now that's 4 sacks at $5 a sack. Doesn't sound like much, right? But you add that up, it takes you normally about 2 years to get an animal that is in good order to slaughter. When you add that up, you make it $0. You're in deficit because then you got to pay if you don't have a large. I mean, now granted, those persons with large acreage is able to probably turn a profit because they're not relying on the sack feed. You got large acreage, 8 and 90 acres that's full of grass, and you can turn loose your cows on that. Then that's the horse of a different color. But not all of us farmers are privy to such land mass, right? So I just want to get it that we farmers, especially those that are, I'm not talking about crop farming. That I've never ventured into that. No more than my backyard, plant some sucker trees here and there and peppers, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking about the cattle industry, and I mean, I would think right now that pork would be more lucrative. Well, I will go there and say pork is more lucrative than raising beef cattle because it takes you so long to be able to turn over your animal. I mean, you wean the calf around about 6-7 months, and then from there it's processing of growing it out, and getting the finished product. So that's just it's right around the agriculture, and we're hearing a lot now about crops and about animals. So I just thought I'd just chip in with that.
No, but thank you, because it gives us a perspective. He who feels it knows it is saying, you sharing from your personal expertise and experience. So thanks very much. All right.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. All right, let's take the other call. Thank you too for joining us. Welcome.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, that's better. And thank you for being so patient, considerate. We're not quite sure. Even to my ears, the last call that time was a little bit crackly as well. But all right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, you need to check your live through. Always blames me for my phone.
Yeah, yeah,
and I donation out there.
Yeah.
And ask for a phone.
We should do that. Yeah, and while in the process, they get me one too. I'm just kidding.
Selling an invite.
No, I gotta soon give up mine, I think. All right, but
so what were we talking about now?
I'll be honest with you. I was struggling to follow along.
Yes, I was talking about the butter. I said it was so nice to hear that butter was made here some years ago. She was reading out an article this morning.
Uh-huh.
And then they were doing some milk many years ago too. I think I remember the milk, but I don't recall and the butter being made here. And it just tells you that I think a lot of good things can be made in Cayman, but where are the people to make them? You know what I mean? And put the effort in it and say, we gotta start doing things here and there to try to sustain ourselves and stop depending on the rest of the world to a degree. We will always have to depend on the world, but try not to make it be 100% or 200%.
Yeah. In listening to you, maybe I can ask a question for us collectively. Is it that somehow we see that there's some shame in doing those things? Because perhaps if you look at it this way, right, our parents, grandparents, and perhaps even ourselves, we did that, and we were told with a subsistence farming, out of poverty, out of necessity, you did that. And now that we're come full circle and doing it again, we are saying it's organic, it's sustainable, it's the backyard farmer, it's the artisan. We're saying it in such a way that creates this, what's the better word? Perhaps this fad. And now we've put it in a way that is presented where people see it as this thing now that is environmentally conscious. It's the same going in the backyard, digging a hole in the ground, getting your good soil and planting and tending to it, whether you doing it yourself or paying somebody, that it was 100 years ago that you got your stick of cassava and you brought it to your table. But for some reason, that was positioned in a way that makes it seem to be sensible. Or is it that we are allowing ourselves to be influenced by the comments of others, whether in this so-called media or by others from elsewhere? Oh, that's less than. And really and truly, I have a view that says, just as it says, the hand that rocks the cradle, rules the world. I add to that by saying, the hand that tills the soil feeds the world.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have respect for what is being done? And do we value the importance? Even though we use words like food security and this and that, is it just like everything else? It's just lip service. Somebody taking a photo up and they have no clue to the man in the moon about what they're doing, but boy, we're too coward to question them and hold them accountable. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think from day one, we always had to depend on everything being imported.
Mm-hmm.
As years start going by, we just got very little stuff here that is being done here, very, very, very little stuff. And I think one of the biggest problems is here is we didn't expect Cayman to grow the way it has grown. And everybody was comfortable in their own little backyard, like planting the cassava and doing the bananas and the coconut tree and a little pepper here and there and so forth and so forth. And we would depend on the salt beef and the fish from the sea and our red beans and rice and that pumpkin lobster. We was very comfortable, I would say, them days gone by. But as the island grown so much now and so fast, that is, I got a strong belief that people are getting more and more confused, and then we got people here too that is ashamed to come out and say, well, you know what, I can make butter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can make this. I can make that. Do not be ashamed. We're going to have to do something because the food is going to be a shortage in this world. It is there now, but it's going to get worse in years to come.
Yep.
And what do we have? We got rum cakes and we got beers and we got liquor that made in the island. And we got some braids made here. Is there any butter being made here? We got some honey made here. We had to put honey in our bread.
Mm-hmm.
The bread clean.
Boy, and I would like some local honey right now. And I mean the ones from the bees, just in case anybody won't put words in my mouth. My spirit just told me to say that. So, honey from bees.
Honey from bees.
Yeah. I had a good friend who does some, but, he's as a hobbyist. But anyway, I hear you.
Yeah. I tell you, if we don't start getting together and try to work together and like each other and love each other,
mm-hmm.
we're going to have a hell of a time trying to live on this baby island because who can pull the most bread, going to pull it. Who can pull the most water, going to pull it.
Yep.
And then Mike say, you know what, I'll give you a drip. I'll give you a drip of it. I'll give you a 3/4 slice of the bread. Because people can secure. It's just like America when the COVID came. They kept our containers. We had stuff stop coming here at one point in time. When they had containers packed up and sent to Cayman, they had to hold it within the U.S. a period of time. They want to make sure America and everywhere else had their own goods before we got ours. Did that happen during COVID?
Well, according to public, acknowledgement, it seemed to have been the case, right? So, yeah, you're right. We need to come together and.
We need to come together, man, because all this Sterling, I'll hit you one more time and I'll let you go.
Okay.
Sterling, we the people, especially in this small island, that did know nothing about all this technology. It was just a typewriter, and it was a manual typewriter that a lot of people went learn typing and shorthand to get jobs in offices here years ago and in the banking. Now technology has taken over the whole world, and Cayman started, I would say, more than Miami has it, even though Cayman can sit in the middle of Miami, in the center of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
To see how parents are on their device, and the kids are on their device, in the car, in a restaurant, visiting, and where is the communication? Nobody's communicating with each other, talking to their children, no more than, you call them on the phone, go in your room, all that kind of talk,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We got to sit down and realize that we got to learn to communicate more with everybody, and especially our children, that we got to depend on in the future to help run this country.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to leave that with you. You have a good one.
Thank you. You as well. Good place, and maybe pause and reflect on that. We invite callers after the break. Please stay tuned.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Sale ends February 14th. Now is the time to see LA your way.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Grand Cayman's biggest one-day family fun day is back. The 55th Cayman Islands Agricultural Society Agriculture Show at the Stacey Watler Agricultural Pavilion in Lower Valley. Ash Wednesday, February 14th. Cooking competition, pony rides, petting zoo, beautiful baby show, Miss Agriculture Queen and Princess competition, lots of local musical entertainment, Roscoe the Mechanical Bull, and so much more. Gates open at 7 a.m. with ample parking. General admission is only $10. Children ages 2 through 11, $5, and under 2 are free. For more information, visit them on Facebook or Instagram at Cayman Agriculture. The 55th Agriculture Show in Lower Valley, Ash Wednesday, February 14th.
You don't sound too good there, Bobo.
Yeah, you know how it is. With the kids back in school, every other week they coming out with something, and then I catch it.
Sound like it gets you, but for real, brother, flu season is here and COVID is still around. You gotta stock up on things like medicine, vitamins, and minerals for you and the kids. You know what they say, prevention is better than cure.
At ValueMed, our pharmacists can help manage flu symptoms and provide guidance on vitamins and minerals to best support you and your family's overall health. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Town, or WhatsApp your questions and prescription refills to ValueMed on Walkers Road at 926-1662 or WhatsApp ValueMed in Town at 916-5511. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from the 5th to the 10th of February at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you are seeking advanced skin care, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full service and dermatological service practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 946-9020.
It's Open Line on Talk Today. Call 1-800-534-8255. 949-8037, 949-6990, or 925-3261. Call now.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for listening, for calling and sharing as we go straight to the phones. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. Good afternoon to everyone.
And to you, Mr. Raymond, sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. I just busy doing some cleanups from the northwest, as it's called, but it came from the northwest, but it was surely the strongest and beyond any northwester that I has ever seen in my lifetime. And I talked with elderly people from Cayman Brac, and they're saying the same thing. We had a minor, small-scale disaster on the coastline on the north side of Cayman Brac, and I estimate with the amount of damages that are done to buildings, including the warehouse, Cayman Brac, the Main Creek warehouse, and other buildings, and the cleanups that are involved, I am estimating $2 million that it will cost, or it could exceed that. Lots of damage. Our warehouse, which is roughly about, I would say, 75 or 100 feet from the sea wall at the Creek Cayman Brac, the metal siding was all torn apart, broken, and the concrete wall was demolished. The concrete wall from the foundation coming up about 6 feet, probably about 50 or 60 feet of that is completely gone and shelved up inside the warehouse itself, and containers were banged up and strewn all over the compound, and some 40-foot containers. The roofs are folded and crumpled, and they has to be condemned. So, and several homes that are along the coastline within 100 or 150 feet where the seas came up, passed by the houses, brought debris and trees and banged up the sides of the walls and things like that, where repairs has to be done with concrete work. And some houses, water came through the doors on the seaside and went inside. I know one at Cotton Tree Bay, where the big boulders are, past Tibbetts Enterprises, friends of mine. The water went, forced itself through the door and went inside and actually flooded out the house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a northwester like no one has ever experienced before. It brought seas. I stood here on the hill of my place, which is roughly 15 feet above the iron shore, and I estimated 18-foot seas coming in. They started up on the deep white holes, and when they were crashing in on the shore, they were near 18 feet high. And it was such a sequence, one right behind the other. So that's what brought the sea so far in on the coastline and did so much damage. There was such frequent wave action. One come up now, seconds behind another one, and it crowded that force of water, and that's what hit the sea wall at the warehouse, and that crowded water, force of tons of water just hit the warehouse and smashed in the wall of the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
People, I want to say thanks to the Public Works crew, which has been very busy clearing the roads. Well, from Tibbetts turn, as you come around the curve by Blackie's going east, that was all blocked off. Impossible. No one could pass there until Public Works loaders cleared the sand out of the road and got it freed up again. And work is still going on, clearing up. So it's major damage in Cayman Brac from what we call the northwest. Here is one thing. It came from the northwest, and any weather system that comes from the northwest has a greater impact, greater turbulence in the sea than anything coming from the northeast, like northeasters or northers. And that's why the 32 hurricane wiped out the island, killing about 110 people in Cayman Brac, because the force came from the northwest, and we have the deep bog in between the two islands and the effects of turbulence in the sea. Anything that approaches Cayman Brac from the northwest is much greater than coming from the southeast or the east, also for Grand Cayman as well. And you all must have millions of dollars worth of damage down there as well, correct?
Yeah, I haven't seen any official publications yet, and I wouldn't want to speculate. What I have seen is a number of people questioning, those who build on the sand versus those who build on the rock, presumably the wires on the rock and the like. To what consequence will now insurance premiums increase as a result of potential claims from those who have been affected? And is there a way to differentiate that market even in a small space as this? Maybe to your point, though, it speaks to a need to rethink how we look at things, and not necessarily only what is allowed, in terms of planning, approval, but also construction. Before we invite other callers, we had one on, but that has now disconnected. Any final thoughts you want to share, sir?
Yes, anyone building on the coastline needs to make certain that the foundation of the house are a minimum of 5 feet above the ground level. And there are so many homes within the 200 feet range along the north coast of the island and also the south coast of the island, 200 feet roughly from the shoreline, some as near as about 75 feet and low elevation. So anyone that is building on the coastline needs to have a minimum of 5 feet foundation height. So
But
when this,
why 5, not 10? Why 5, not 15, or thereabouts? No.
Yeah, well, it's going to do to the cost of the people that are building to go. The higher they can go, if they can afford it, go 10 feet with it, and you don't have much worries, because if the bad weather like this comes again, it's going to come again, yes. It will just bypass the house and go on further up inland instead of breaking in the doors and windows and destroying all the contents inside the house and all those risk factors. So the higher you can put your house on the seaside, well, mine here is 15 feet above the iron shore. The property is 15 feet above the iron shore, and I am about 175 feet from the sea. And I seen the water splash over that 15-foot elevation, the sea, and the water just came over a few places, but it did not come to the house because of it being an elevation of 15 feet above the iron shore. So
Yes,
that
sir.
proves it right there.
Yeah. Well, I hope that you were able, like everybody else, to weather the storm, no pun intended, and that we'll be safe. But as you shared, we'll be sensible and we'll be your brother's keeper. Thanks very much for staying with, sir. Thank you. And to our callers, and before we take the next break in less than 5 minutes, we invite you to call 949-8037 or 949-6990. To the caller prior, if you call back, we'll take your call as we would anybody else's. We want, as much as possible, to provide as accessible, and unfettered access as we can to the airwaves, encouraging you to share your perspective. You can WhatsApp call 925-3261 if you can reach that. Hey, do so. To the caller's points, and in particular the good gentleman earlier, when he was talking about the practices sometimes in societies, there's something I want to read and share with us. But we've heard it said, and whether it was his original quote, it certainly has been ascribed to him. The American President John F. Kennedy, when he would say, ask not what a country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And maybe that's why we need to get to a space where that pride in doing for ourselves, and by extension, for the country, by stepping up and being responsible, something that our forefathers had that maybe is lacking, not just in Cayman, not just in the region, but globally. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, my friend. How are you today?
Okay, and you?
Oh, man. I am truly, truly wonderful. Very excellent. Very thankful.
Okay, man. Yeah, well, concerning farming, there was a program on the show this morning with Mr. Art Connor. And he mentioned that there are former premiers who are doing backyard farming. And I called in. And I said, people such as the former premier and certain individuals who have been premier more than once, I simply said that any backyard farming that they're doing, I hope that what they're growing, they're giving away to poor people. People who cannot afford to go to the grocery store and buy things such as that and not hurting from it. And I'm pretty sure that anybody that's been the premier of the Cayman Islands twice and is still in the assembly, I'm pretty sure they can afford to give away what they grow to poor people. And anybody who doesn't believe that they're able to afford that is an idiot. Thank you very much.
Would you want to engage in more discussion, or you want to leave it at that? All right. Sometimes it's good, to say what you got to say. People can relay their views. Let's just pause, though. When we come back, we'll share with you. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Sale ends February 14th. Now is the time to see LA your way.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us as we go straight to the phones. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Mr. Sterling,
Yes, ma'am.
I had to call you back.
Of course. Thank you.
I was just listening to the gentleman in regards to the backyard farming and the past from there, doing his thing and hoping that he's giving it away to, I would say, I don't know, senior citizens, poor people, or whatever you want to call it. I not called to condone him or bring him under the belt or anything in that category, but I just wanted to say that a couple of years ago, Sterling, I'm a single mother, and I got 3 grandchildren, and I do the taxi part-time, I do the school part-time, and I make my moringa juice. There are a couple of times that need to be made. Now I'm making the COVID drink, which can be used for regular colds, not just for COVID. So I just want to say that, I tried the tomatoes, the chickens, and chickens eat the blossom off. Didn't get enough of my tomatoes. I tried my cassava, and that was not too bad. I just replanted my sticks again, and they're looking good.
All right.
I growed okras, and I gave him my okra okras. I grow sweet peppers. I gave them away. Hot peppers, seasoned peppers. I gave away plants. I gave away my plums when I had them, my mangoes when I had them, my berry when I had them. And I had to buy all of that soil on my own to come out here. And I went and bought the pots by the galores to plant these things out in my backyard. Plus, someone gave me some boxes, and that's what I started doing the boxes. But the chickens was so plentiful. This is over 3 years. It was about almost 2.5 to 3 years that I would say that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And the chickens, the cats, and the dogs that came through my yard, I don't own one of those animals. They belong to people around the area. Came in and destroyed everything that I was trying to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly I gave away everything that I could get to give away in my little produce that I was trying to do a backyard farming. And let me tell you something, it was kind of fun to see the stuff growing.
Mm-hmm.
And when they put the bloom out in the pepper come or the okra come, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this.
Rewarding, yeah?
Yeah. Yes, it is. But the maintenance, and got to fight with cats and dogs and chickens.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a pleasant situation, knowing it was only me one here messing with it. And I just got the cassava. You could say right now, because my mango trees and pear trees and plum trees and everything is gone from Grace Hurricane. And the apple tree, I gave apple until I was sick, and they want to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easier said than done when you're in the farming business to give away everything that you go and work so hard for. I don't care how much money you may have or not, no money at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm quite sure that something is being given down. I'm not here to take up for nobody. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here taking up for nobody.
I hear you.
I just want to say that I'm quite sure whoever that they're farming gives something at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that all this backyard farming, that everything is being sold. Know something has to be given away.
Mm-hmm.
I gave away everything that I had. And people were looking pots, and I gave them my pots. And nobody never came back and said, Jan, you gave me a pot, and I got peppers from the pot. Here is your dozen peppers. That's not going to happen in a lifetime. There's a police officer up on the main road who has a house over here doing some community farming and yakety yak, right? About 2 years ago, I heard this knocking on my door. And I'm like, oh, that knocks like a police officer, man. That's a strong knock. So I came out of the bathroom and I took a peep and I thought it was the gentleman. And I said, yes, sir. He said, I brought you some tomatoes from the farm. I said, well, sir, I can't come to you right now because I just took a shower, get ready to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can't really deal with this minute. Open the door, take a man. Open the door. I said, sir, would you please find someone else to give them to? And I could probably get something more from you later.
Mm-hmm.
He said, take a man. And then he decided to leave in. And I now see that man came out to my door. Yet I see cars over there by the galores, people going in with stuff, and he's planting left, right, and center.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you take from the first going off, you're not going to get anything again, which is okay because I really don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And if I take it, I will give it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's good to share, but not because someone may have a big position that we think that they got a bag of money sitting home on, or they have money in the bank that they can roll on it and laugh at us.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do have it, they have to give accountability to Almighty God in the future, how they treated the people of their own country. That's what I got to say. But I'm not trying to dismantle the guy's conversation or anything.
No.
I just want to say that I had and I have given.
Mm-hmm.
I have not received it. I didn't look for anything to come back to my yard. And I gave it with a good heart. I gave it my desert rose. I gave it my regular roses.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it my periwinkles. Somebody come and see something they want.
Yeah.
I gave it away.
Yeah, man.
So my house is empty. I give everything I get my hand on.
Yeah. Thank you. Give it a willing heart. It comes back to you, right?
You know what I mean?
Take care, huh?
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Mama says good follows good. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Dwayne, good afternoon.
How are you?
Listen, I just called to say, look like I'm going to have to come on there and co-host with you so I can keep you straight to let Jan know she's only allowed to call in twice per show and limit her time
You call her, negotiate that, and then call us back, and we sign the contract.
She's going to hear me, and you don't seem to be able to do it. So I think you need to get me on there for a show or two to co-host with you, so I can keep her straight, so other people can get on.
All right, but you call you call my immediate supervisor, and you arrange that, and she approves, or whoever approves you to host. I'll take a sabbatical, man. How about that? We can start Monday.
Yes, I absolutely. I am willing to come on, but I need to keep Jan straight because there's certain callers that call 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and my friend Jan is one of those. Jan, I know you're listening. Anyway, I just wanted to call as a Friday afternoon joke. As usual, I don't have a topic right now. My throat sounds a little better today, but
Yes.
I don't have a topic right now, so I'll leave you with that.
No, thank you. And I hope you feel better, Last time I said guess 109, maybe today add a little, a little wet rum to it and see how that does for the throat. All right, feel better.
All right, thanks.
Take care. All right, well, we live in a small community, so I just try to put my glasses on, forget how they look, but let me use this so I can at least try to see. Actually, we take this call. I'll read this thing later. 949-8037 and 949-6099. There are 2 calls, numbers you can use to call. Let's take this one. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon again, Mr. Sterling.
Welcome back again, man. Welcome back.
All right. This is Craig again. I see a serious need for that, what you call it, homeless shelter, because it can be used to different purposes, not just for just simple homeless people, but I mean, for example, if you got a hurricane, and you remember Ivan and all that, I mean, come on now, in the east, west, north, and the south, I think we should put homeless shelters all over Cayman, and taking from ideas from certain other people to in places that like apartment complexes, then that they can live, they can grow certain things there, they can learn to survive and different strategies, and you teach different things, teach cooking, you teach this, you teach that, survival tactics and strategies. Because
life skills.
I mean, I think so. I really believe so. I think we should put them in the east, west, the north, and the south. That in cases of emergency, you got domestic violence cases. People can't, some maybe the woman might not be able to go to the other place. What's it, the crisis center or something?
Yeah, there is a crisis center, and but you chat. Let me listen.
She can go to the homeless place, the homeless shelter. The woman can go there, or with the children, or for example, and for so many different reasons. And I believe that we should continue to be dependent on the UK. We might say some people might say different things, but the UK knows that we can handle ourselves to a certain extent. But we should continue to be dependent. It's a dependent territory. And work with the other people. Work with the other people that are interested in strengthening Cayman. We strengthen each other, and we work with the people that want to strengthen us. Like co-workers, they strengthen you. The people that come here, they want to strengthen you. You work together. You strengthen each other, and strengthen this country. And that's what I think should be done. We need strength. We're a small group of islands. Strengthen each other. So what if somebody is using drugs, still giving somewhere to live? You know, I mean, look at you. Look in the compass today. You see the waves for the sea hit some cars, and throw cars all over the place. What if somebody was sleeping inside the car? You know what? I mean, what if and all that kind of stuff? I think we need these shelters, and I believe that what we can do to us as Caymanians, some of us that have say we want to donate some property. I think that we can do it. I believe that we can do that. You know, I believe so. You know, so Radio Cayman is a powerful tool, and we should try to strengthen each other through Radio Cayman too, and forward ideas that will strengthen the country and strengthen each other. You know, and I still believe in Lord Sterling. You know.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yes,
right,
sir.
But listen, we can see in you, you know, a man with a genuine heart who cares and who is concerned. You know, so maybe others can see the need for us to be committed to our community to ensure that we're doing right by them. So thank you very much. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good time to perhaps pause and take that headline news at 2. We'll invite you to join us right after. Stay tuned.
Since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, and right. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Cayman Islands Agricultural Society's 55th Agriculture Show is scheduled for Ash Wednesday, February 14th at the Stacey Watler Agricultural Pavilion in Lower Valley, Bodden Town. The event runs from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. Admission is $10 for adults, $5 for children, and free for children under 2 and seniors 65 and over. The official opening ceremony will take place at 10 a.m. In international news, U.S. President Joe Biden has said that countries receiving American weapons must adhere to international law in a memorandum issued on Thursday night. The executive order requires foreign governments receiving military aid to provide written assurances that they are abiding by the laws of war. The move comes after the president admitted Israel had gone over the top in its response in Gaza. Global cocoa prices have hit a fresh record high as dry weather hurts crops in West Africa. Cocoa prices on the New York commodities market reached a new all-time high of $5,874 a ton on Thursday. The cost of the key ingredient for making chocolate has now roughly doubled since the start of last year. Soaring cocoa prices are already filtering through to consumers and squeezing major chocolate makers. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. It's Open Line on Talk Today. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or 925-3261. Call now.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sharing with us. 949-8037 or 949-6990. Or you can WhatsApp call 925-3261, right? Let's read this that we had purpose to do so earlier. We shared it to you, with our listeners prior, but let's do it again. It was a few times back, and it seems to reflect some of the sentiments being expressed today. The notion, you give a man a fish, you feed him for the day, teach him to fish and you feed him for life. And the idea that, we need to start to show each other and help them to learn from our experiences in life and otherwise, and also from our knowledge. This is something that when we look at history, and this Scottish professor in 1787 talked about, as he's looking at the Athens of the day, he says a democracy is always temporary in nature. It simply cannot exist in a permanent form of government. Now, this was shared by a very strong academic in such discourse, but I'll pull from you the little bits as I repeat it. It says that a democracy will continue to exist up until the time that the voters discover they can vote themselves generous gifts from the public treasury. From that moment on, the majority always vote for the candidates, the politicians, who promise the most benefits from the public treasury, with the result that every democracy will finally collapse due to the loose fiscal policy, which is always followed by a dictatorship. And shared that the average age of the world's greatest civilizations from the beginning of history was about 200 years. And in that 200 years, say the nations go through this sequence from bondage to spiritual faith, and then from spiritual faith to great courage, from courage to liberty. That's when you see them coming up and saying, hey, we can do this. Let's become independent, have more autonomy. So from courage to liberty, liberty to abundance, abundance to complacency, complacency to apathy, and then apathy to dependence, and then from dependence right back into bondage, where they started, and the circle probably repeats. Now, this university professor over at one of the law schools in the state, did analysis and went through it, and came up with a couple of things that we won't rehash just yet. But he shared that with respect to the U.S., there's somewhere between complacency and apathy, and that when we look at the U.S. statistically, almost half its population now has gotten to a stage where it's become this governmental dependency. Now, looking at that, are we asking ourselves where Cayman is in that whole scheme of things? Are we looking at it and saying, well, the government is there, we better get what we can until we can't get any more, as opposed to being independent, pride, of doing for yourself. Not that you're seeking handouts, but you're willing to offer help as you are yourself, accept help. Is it that we see and we believe, well, if that one's getting, I better get two? Now, having pride is perhaps different than being proud, arrogant, conceited in such a way that you don't accept anything. Have we lost national pride in ourselves? Are we so beaten and downtrodden that we feel defeated and deflated? Is it that many would say, well, we like, as a country, to be this, and here are the values and the virtues, but in reality we're willing to accept, reward, and recognize and promote mediocrity? Let's ask ourselves, are we cognizant that for a country to really achieve success, it's not measured in its tallest buildings that become icons? It's not measured in the things that some would say are superficial and insignificant because they speak to style, not substance. But are we willing to celebrate that? Is it that we fail to appreciate that if the people have knowledge, that they understand the time of day, they can't be easily misled, misguided, that they're willing to speak and stand with courage? Now, are those ideals? Are those who propose such tenets idealistic? And if so, is that a bad thing? Think of your young self, or even more importantly, your young child. There she is. Do you not want her to be independent? Know that you got her back. You are there to support and undergird and praying for and praying with. But you want her to be able to think for herself, to know she can defend herself, know that she can go and not only demand and deserve, but ensure that she's seated at the table. She owns the table and all that's on it. She directs the meetings. But she's also filled with grace and elegance and humility and integrity and not easily pushed around. Or do you want her to be someone who's taken advantage of? Or if you want her for that for her, we should work towards to get it so that they all, our children achieve that. Today is Friday. Monday is another work day. So is tomorrow and so is Sunday. And we very rarely make the distinction between one day and the next. We know that Wednesday we'll celebrate it as Ash Wednesday, as Valentine's Day, and as Agriculture Show. But in between now and then, a few days will transpire, and the weekend in particular. So my invitation and challenge, call. And if you're listening and you feel sufficiently encouraged, challenge what I say, champion what I say, and say, you know what, you're wrong, or you're not so wrong, but you're not so right. Many of us are unwilling to say publicly what we think privately, not because it's a bad thing, but because we are afraid. And sometimes understandably so, because we've seen other people say less and get treated worse. We're afraid to be denied something that we're deserving. But if we continue to do that, then one day, it'll be everybody who's, relegated to the margins. Then what? We say it and repeat it. Do we actually believe it? And is it something that we have purposed in our lives? If you fail to stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Now, 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call 925-32621. We're living in an interesting time in history, and we can easily see the aspiring despots. We can see those who dictate that because they have in their minds the power. The golden rule, I thought, was, do unto others as you would have done unto you, has now probably been replaced by he who has the goal, and sadly, he who has the gun, and worse yet, he who has the gun that guards the goal, are the ones, who dictate and decide and determine your destiny. So let's have not. There are many who will say that they'll stand in the face of adversity and be the first to cover and hide under their mama frog tail. My mom always says, dapper no who frightened. But are we a people of courage, or are we cowards? Do we pray publicly and privately? Not to be seen, but in fact, to be prayerful. Your thoughts? Not about religion, but about relationship. 949-8037, 949-6990. It's a great place. In some cases, even better. In others, we see the mask that men wear because they know they have to persevere. And sometimes we don't appreciate that we could be a little bit more, compassionate if we would just be a little bit more patient. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Dwayne, it's me again. This is my second limited call per show.
Hey. I won't say anything, You go right ahead. You feel just as invited and welcome to call.
I just logged online and you look so lonely there by yourself. Oh, my goodness.
Man.
I wanted to say this, though.
Mm-hmm.
Let's remind listeners and the general public that it is illegal to stand on the side of the public road and urinate.
Mm-hmm.
I was tempted to take a picture of the two persons I saw, one in Georgetown off Randite Gardens and one up off Savannah, today alone, urinating on the side of the public roads. Remind listeners, if you're listening, spread the word to those who aren't listening. It is illegal and is very unsanitary and not a good look to publicly urinate on the side of the road. Or urinate on the side of the road.
No, public urination, right? Can I thank you for sharing that. Can I ask you about that? I had other people share similar sentiments, right? And unlike you, they were unwilling to call publicly because they thought people might think they're pointing fingers, or they might get, as one said, well, I get inflamed and I might use some pop off two bad words, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me add to what you shared. And I relate this to somebody thinking that I was in the company of someone who would have my back, someone that I could think out loud and sort of formulate my thoughts. I could bounce an idea off. Wouldn't be condemned or criticized, right?
Right.
What I'm saying is, it's your own flea that bites you the hardest. It's your friends that betray you, not your enemies, and it's not stranger danger, but the people that you know who harm you. All those things that we fail to understand how important it is, right? I'm driving. It's dusk, I guess, so sufficiently, light enough that you can see what's transpiring, dark enough that you think that you can't be seen, and only to reference the type of car. One of those fancy name brand cars that you recognize by its emblem.
Right.
Only to say that it doesn't matter, like in the case or the incident prior, where I wasn't sure what kind of car this was, because as a child we would say, look at that jalopy. So from one end of the spectrum, where this car must be so heavily expensive, yet on the other case the car itself looked like it was held together with Scotch tape and chewing gum. But in both instances I could tell you it was a male. I shouldn't even say that either, because the person was back on. But anyway, the person was standing up on just off the side of the road.
You can usually tell by body frame, though.
Boy, I'm not go that far, I'm not gonna swear for nobody, especially with today. The person was standing up. The person was wearing what looked like I'll call a long pants. Back onto the road, not too far from the car, urinating as you would share. Now, whether it was a fancy car or a jalopy, why are we doing that? And is it, as someone said, we just have no respect for the country? We're doing it to really mash up the place, as somebody say. It's just a practice that is the norm elsewhere. It's a practice that we did here, but we ignored it. Can you explain to me why we do that? Not saying that somebody really don't have a major issue and it's a medical, not saying that, but the frequency with which is happening, I would consider doctors need to figure if there's an epidemic.
Well, my view on that is that it has nothing to do with what type of car the person is driving.
Exactly.
But, my view is it comes down to your mentality. That's my view.
Right.
Because anyone who has pride in themselves and hasn't been raised in a background or a culture that is supportive of those things wouldn't necessarily do that. I've never, ever seen a Caymanian do that unless they are drunk and no, seriously,
yes,
that's my experience.
I agree with you.
And it still isn't as public as I've seen some other people. And I'm not saying Caymanians have never done it, and I'm not talking about race or culture.
No, not at all. You're not saying that.
The fact remains is my experience has been what I've observed, and what I have observed is it's not something I have generally seen for Caymanians to do. Other cultures, other nationals doing it.
Right.
I won't publicly say which nationals I saw today or on any other given day, but I think that all goes back to their frame of mind, how they think about that. They don't stop and think this is somebody's going to see me, and this is they're going to recognize my face. This is embarrassing.
Right.
I shouldn't do this because this is on the public road.
Right.
It's about frame of mind. It's about environment. This is, again, it's just my personal opinion, that is why someone may think to do that, because it's something that they may have been used to.
Okay.
And most of the time you can see that most of these people are not intoxicated, where they're incoherent about their behavior.
Right.
Sometimes they are. I've seen them. Sometimes they are, but majority of the times it may be. I mean, this person, one of the people today was, like I said, right off Randite Gardens, and it's the new highway is there. Well, the highway is there, and I was on the phone with another girlfriend of mine, and she said, "Oh, Pat, leave him." I said, "No, that is very. School is about to get out. Kids are going to see this. That's not proper morally behave. That's not proper behavior. That's not how we want to train our children to see." So conduct on the side of the public road.
So true. Well, let me share directly what I was doing in a very circuitous way. Right, in referencing the car, I'm saying that, just like how people say, the clothes make the man. No, the car neither. It's a lack of class, right?
Right.
Mama would say,
Absolutely,
you can't buy class, right? So it doesn't matter the car. I'm just saying that here we have people, no matter where they dress, where they work, what title they have.
Oh, their stature.
Yeah, they don't have any class, right? There's no
status. Yeah.
Okay, so in a very circuitous way, I was trying to be maybe a little bit too polite and diplomatic, right? But these are, let me borrow Honorable Minister of Tourism words, these are nasty people, right? In the West Bay parlance, these are fudders, right? Are you familiar with that word?
No.
Okay, I didn't realize that wasn't a word that was said throughout Cayman, and I was trying to figure out how to spell it. The pronunciation, and it's a fudder, right? And that is beyond a nasty person, right? But we have that practice in our behavior. You remember not long ago at the what do they call it? There's national attractions like Hell and Pedro and all those places. What is that called? You remember there was a very growing concern about the smell of urine about some of these places?
Yes, absolutely. And it's still so. If even walking around in Georgetown, around Thompson Building.
Okay, so remember too, because we have people in our communities who share things that we are unwilling to listen to because perhaps they are here, whether they were from here or otherwise, generationally, we don't listen. We wait till we hire a consultant. That was a practice that was becoming even more prevalent, and either we ignored it or we addressed it. Now, the city of New York, or whatever it's called, New York, I had an impression of that based on my father. You go to sea, you ship out from New York, or you had to find yourself in there for some reason, for whatever reason. Always left me, whether he said this or not, but it was an impression that strongly discouraged me from wanting to visit there. It was smell of pee constantly. That was his, whatever he said, that was the impression I got, whether he actually said that or not. I didn't want to go there. But fast forward, you remember the mayor, Adcock, who had come along and he did some things and he cleaned up the city, literally, right? And now the smell of urine is no longer, well, I don't know what now. It was addressed. So why are we not doing that? Why are we allowing that behavior? Why is it in this instance, just like I passed that the other day, 2 police cars, one up ahead and 1 3 cars back, while this fellow was doing this thing? Why did they pass and not, hey guy, you okay? He could have had a serious health issue, right?
Well, I think Mr. Walton would Commissioner Walton would agree that if an officer passes and sees someone urinating on the side of the road, it would be sensible for them to stop and advise that that's not. I assume they would know that it's illegal to do so, but also that it's not. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not a good look for our islands. It's not culturally a good look. It's not something that's normal. I mean, we as the Cayman Islands, we have a standard. I don't care what anyone says about the Cayman Islands. We have a standard historically and culturally, and we cannot let that falter just because the country is growing and there's over 100 different nationalities here. When you go to Rome, you do what the Romans do. Right. So we have to let them know you can't just come to, and even our Caymanian people, but I think they know because they know our culture and our background.
Right.
You cannot just come to our islands, and if you're having an urgency, there's so many roads on the side of our roads, one could just quickly pull off and jump out and relieve themselves. So we have to make sure people adhere, like we're enforcing garbage compliance.
Exactly.
We have to enforce, don't stop on the side of the road to urinate. It's not proper. It's not hygienic.
Yeah, man.
We will not tolerate it. You're going to get arrested.
Exactly.
And then the police officers have to enforce that if they see anyone.
Yeah. Let me invite you not only to hold me accountable, but to remind me. Because I perceive in you that you're a lady, classy lady, a lady with strong intellect and principle, right? Down the road, not long from now, whether it's me or somebody else who says, hey, this country has a certain value system, there are certain standards, just like you said. We're not going to allow litter to be everywhere. We're not going to allow people to urinate as they wish in public. It's not about punishing the people. It's about reminding us that we need to raise the bar and be held to a certain level, a certain standard, right? So I want you to remember this conversation and remind me, and when that transpires, that we do so and say, hey, here's someone, just like Minister Brian has said, we're not going to accept this nastiness with cars being thrown all over the place. Now, I have got a few who have, took the stick to me because I commended him for having that willingness and courage to publicly say, despite being a political person, I believe there has to be a standard. So if you don't vote for me for saying that, well, too bad. But this comes above politics, right?
Well, sometimes you got to speak in a language that people can understand and relate to.
Exactamente.
You know?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about
Indeed. Well,
it's not like you're cursing profanities or something like that, but
yes.
in order to speak to a child, you have to speak in a tone or use words that a child would understand. So
yes.
that's my take on it. You have to sometimes just do that.
Indeed. Well, we're going to take the final break and take the other caller, but anything quickly you want to share, or that's that for today?
No, that's
right.
it. I think I'm going to email your supervisor and get on and co-host with you a few shows because you really look lonely over there.
Well, thank you for offering the company. I must say to you that I am comfortable in my skin. I'm not lonely about what I am.
No, but co-host kind of spruces things up
Of
a little
course,
bit,
of
especially
course.
a female.
Well, I certainly believe that if we want to actually understand what's being said and what needs to be done, we should be willing to engage, with others. So thank you. All right.
Right. Yeah. All right, Dwayne. Good talking to you as usual.
Thank you as well. Final break, and then we take some more calls. Stay tuned.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Sale ends February 14th. Now is the time to see LA your way.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Do you own a 1996 to 2016 Honda vehicle? There is an ongoing urgent safety recall regarding faulty Takata airbags that can seriously injure occupants in Honda vehicles. Please go to HondaCayman.com/recalls to check if your vehicle is affected. The automotive industry continues to face an unprecedented challenge in the recall and replacement of millions of Takata airbag inflators. Honda is committed to addressing the needs and concerns of our customers who are affected by this safety issue. Honda stands behind the safety and quality of our products. The protection of the drivers and passengers in Honda vehicles is our paramount concern. Please go to HondaCayman.com/recalls or call us at 949-5525 to check if your vehicle is affected by this urgent Honda safety recall.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
This Valentine's, Digicel has something special. Join our shared postpaid plan for unlimited data and minutes for both of you. Plus, get 25% off for 6 months. Activate a 5-day Prime bundle for 2 SIMs at $14.99. Enjoy free calling between both and 25% off for 6 months. Make this Valentine's memorable with Digicel Cayman. Visit us today for unlimited connections. Digicel, connecting hearts this Valentine's.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. what is on your mind, Cayman.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for calling, and thanks for sharing with us on this fantastic Friday. Probably the final call for today. Hey, welcome, thanks for calling. Hello?
Hi, Dwayne, it's me.
I believe it's you. How are you?
Good. I just listened to that caller, that lady call. She made some good points, and she brought something to my mind while she was speaking there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we come to the airport and at arrivals, there's a little pamphlet that usually be there. I don't know if it's still there. It has something on it entitled "Keep Your Shell On." Do you know that little tourist information booth?
I have not.
A little leaflet that says "Keep Your."
No, I
tells
haven't
you about
seen
the
it.
customs, the
Yeah.
island, and so on like that.
No, but I haven't
Are
been
you
away
aware
in
of
5
that?
years now, so yeah. I haven't seen it, no.
Yeah, well, I think I remember seeing it quite a while back, and I think that's something the Department of Tourism might need to bring back.
Yeah.
And also probably the people who issue work permits, and they probably will need to update something like that. And I know we don't have much time in the show. I'm just going to break it down quickly.
Yes,
Maybe update stuff like that, the customs of the island, and clip it on to the work permit so these people know how to.
Yeah.
I'm rushing. Sorry.
No. I apologize for that. Thank you.
How to manage themselves when in the island, because they may be not familiar with some of the Cayman customs and how our society is.
Yeah.
So
I am respectful.
We need a little leaflet or put it with today's technology, put something like that on the website, on Facebook and YouTube, whatever.
Yeah.
What the Cayman Islands what the customs of the islands are, because I saw a video also on going around on the internet, so I didn't get to watch the full of it, but I'm going to watch the full of it, where there was a protest at Hero Square waving the Palestinian flag. I think with some Cayman Muslims or people who live in Cayman and are Muslims.
All right, send it to me. I didn't see
Hero
that.
Square.
All right.
Pardon me?
If you find it and you wish to share it, I didn't see it, so I wouldn't mind. I mean, I can go to find it, but if you find it, send it to me. That'll make it easier. All right?
Yeah, okay. So what I'm saying is I thought it was very disrespectful to see any other flag raised at Hero Square other than the Cayman flag. I don't know who allowed the demonstration. They had music and all this thing going on.
Yeah.
I don't know who. And I even saw some police in the background.
All right.
So they probably got permission somewhere along the line. But I thought it was very disheartening to watch, other than the Cayman flag, of all the places raised at Hero Square.
I realize.
And yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Good. You go ahead. I'll ask. Go ahead. Take your time. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm very concerned about this group of people because, I'm in the UK and I'm seeing how they operate. And
Right.
You give them an inch and they take a yard. They're I don't want to say dangerous people, but they're going in that direction. And they're very pompous. They like to show themselves up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be, these little things, I think they're the underpinnings. I think a lot of people have called their station and complain, the government need to do this, they need to do that, they're complaining about the cars on the road and the traffic. Put it in writing and send it to the government. I think is want to get it printed and post it all over the place. This is what we expect of you to be when you're in the Cayman Islands. Because some people, they really don't know. We're like a blank canvas, and they say, oh, well, we don't see anybody say anything, so we're going to do what we think is right or do what we did in our country.
They might assume that silence means consent, and it doesn't.
Pardon?
So they may assume that silence means acquiescence, silence means consent, and it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Yeah, I was going to share that
of course, they have different values and different mindsets from where they come from.
Right.
And then they'll look at Cayman and say, oh, nobody don't care, we can do it. Cayman is an easy run over.
Yeah.
These people can easily take Cayman over if the government do not get the underpinnings down, like these little things they will use and just seek their way to the top and take over. Okay, I'm telling you like this because I'm seeing it happen in a big, strong country as the UK.
Well, in other parts of Europe as well, right? We've seen it. I was going to share that I recognize that you're trying to be respectful of the time, and that I respect in you. But perhaps for another time, Monday in particular, sooner rather than later. Let's ask ourselves, in these customs, the norms, the values, and the like that you're referring to, is it that we're at risk because A, there is no sort of enforcement or acknowledgement publicly, and it's not sufficiently inculcated in practice for whatever reasons within a society, and that's compounded by B, the people whom you think are entrusted to be the gatekeepers of such, either themselves not sure what it is, they may have a different value system because maybe they've been appointed, promoted, and otherwise elected and elevated to such position, right? So are we at risk of the change in values because of all the perhaps confusing, conflicted, and convoluted way that we have these? Take, for instance, the lady that called earlier about public urination. I think many Caymanians would say, our men in particular, in a drunken state, in stupor, may do that. But it wasn't a habitual practice, certainly not in public. Didn't mean they mightn't go along the side of the house or in the bush in the undeveloped lands near your property. One is not saying that. But is that a practice that is commonplace other places and now has become prevalent here, like so many other things? Take, for instance, your reference to the flag or to the practices or the sayings or the different things. Is it that it's deliberate and conscious, as some have shared? Because if I may repeat what I thought I heard you say, Cayman is easy pickings, right? We come in, we're compliant, we're docile, we're amenable, agreeable, otherwise. So we don't say anything until it gets to a point, but then it's too late, right?
Exactly, yeah. And that's the scary part of it,
I want you to cast your mind back to public events, whether in schools or other places, whether it's a celebration of activities that occurring because that, population in Cayman is celebrating something that's, going on in their own country. Not that it shouldn't be, not that it shouldn't be allowed, but to what extent things that are happening in this country are being celebrated and promoted over and above the country itself, to the point where we may be, consciously displacing what is here. And soon it'll be not just consumed and subsumed, but it's going to be, stomped out. And if so, like enforcement, like other things, we don't have nobody else to blame but ourselves,
Yeah, but one of the things I think the government, the officials, they're right now, they're probably in their off. I don't know if they listen to your talk show or, they need to have someone either listen to the talk show or have a special evening where the people can just hash it all out and bring these little things to them.
Yeah.
Because they're busy.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're gonna. I don't want to be a politician, but
I hear you.
They need someone to bring these things to them and in writing or sit down and say to them, because they have a lot to do and they're busy, and all these things. If we just can't talk on the radio and expect the solution to the problem to be solved.
There you go, man. There you go.
Because they're not listening. They're probably working, like I said, working right now. So we need to bring it to them. Call a national meeting of some sort, like Sunday, everybody's home, just thinking out of the box here. Have like a Sunday evening talk to X, Y, and Z politician for an hour, and you just hash it out there, and they just sit and listen and take notes.
Yeah, man.
And bring whatever. If you see something wrong in the community, you say it right there and then. They can't say, well, you didn't, well, we didn't know about it, I don't think writing letters is going to actually do it, but
you probably can't find posters.
They might help. They might help. Also, we really need to do something about get back that keep your shell on pamphlet in the airport and around the island, so people know what the customs are and don't cross the line, and get people to stay in their lane, basically. Because some of the people, they want to bring their values here, and it's not in accordance with us. Not at all. Completely different society.
Thank you.
If you come here for the beautiful beaches and the peace and tranquility, then let it be. Don't bring what you're running from here in Cayman,
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, thank you very much for sharing. I do appreciate everything.
Right.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for indulging us, and keep thinking, keep sharing. Have a wonderful weekend. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. All the best to you. To the caller's points, is it the sun, the sun and the sun that we're coming for? Is it the safety, the security, and the serenity that we value in Cayman? Is it us being malicious, deliberate, in an attempt to destroy, degrade, and disrespect? Or is it that we believe it's a free-for-all, we have a laissez-faire approach because we don't think there's any sanction or consequence for our ill steps? Or is it that we are so busy trading water that we no longer appreciate that it is the small things that will undo us? They become so entrenched, and it's the insidious creep of these things that one day become our undoing. Many of us have heard many talk about the broken windows, concept without fully appreciating what it means. But are we willing again to stand in the gap and call out the bad behavior, not in an offensive, confrontational way necessarily, but because it's a concerted, chorus from the wider community as to what is and what isn't acceptable. Again, courage goes a long way. A good friend from, another, what I think, wonderful place, shared a bit of our prose, and as I read it, it was a sobering reminder of what happens in our societies when we allow avarice, incompetence, unethical behavior to become the order of the day. Many will continue to perish and to suffer unduly because the few who control the goal and the gun will dictate and decide the outcome. Well, if the masses lay down and accept all the bad behavior, well, they say, you get the government you deserve. Let's lock hands and hearts and let's find a way to make it. If that's idealistic and naive, well, think about it. If it's an endeavor that requires effort and we're willing to be one amongst many, maybe we'll encourage others. As fathers in particular, I would say that we see it very evident in our mothers. So why not as fathers? We want to be an example to our children that reminds them that we're not just there to protect and provide and they feel safe, but we're an example that they too can follow. But more importantly, we're a support system that gives them courage to excel, courage at least to try, to believe, to have a sense of hope. And there is, growing question as to whether the men in our society are men of valor and integrity, and to see the behaviors of some of our males, I tell you what, man, it's disgraceful. But then again, you may say, oops, that's unfair. Well, I think a man can castigate as well as he should uplift his fellow man. Have a wonderful weekend. Please join Mr. Art on Monday and think about how you make it better. And think about what you're doing that's making it worse. Until Monday, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949